Greetings, everyone. Hollywood Purgatory. We are back on the air tonight. Jeffrey Harris of 401 Mania. On the other end of the line, we have Jay Snook of the Good Men Project. Say hi, Jay.
Hello there. How's it going?
Great. Great to have you back tonight, Jay. Thank you. So we are back. We're keeping it back on a weekly track this week. So the big news this week, I guess, is Avengers: Infinity War. Can you believe it? We are almost 10 years since Iron Man first came out in 2008.
Yeah.
And this is it. This is the third Avengers movie, and it has everyone. And they're finally going to confront Thanos, and we're all very excited. What are your expectations for this film, Jay?
You know, my only reason I have mixed feelings about this film, and it's a weird reason, but it makes sense because you're lucky you get a screening and there's like the world premiere and all that stuff.
Right. I'm not going to the world premiere. I'm going to El Capitan Tuesday morning.
And I understand that, but the point is, that's the only place, to my knowledge, that's getting any kind of screening at all. Nowhere in the United States at all is, which is really weird. And it's weird to me because every other Marvel movie I can think of, at least all the ones I've seen, have all gotten screenings. So
I'm sure they'll have screenings in the major metropolitan areas that hold screenings.
Well, so far what I've seen the only place even have a run of engagement is Florida. That's it.
So Florida, well. So
but
basically,
that was a run of engagement, so it's not even a screening per se.
So this will be like this. What we wanted to do is sort of like a pregame show for the movie, and then we'll do like our recap of the movie, kind of like what we've done for other films later on. But just because
it's just weird to me because I can't think of any movie that's done that. So it's almost like, why would they do that? Because even Deadpool.
Do you think they're hiding the film? Do you think Marvel's hiding the film?
It could be because when they've done the same thing. Disney's done the same thing with the two main Star Wars films. Force Awakens didn't get any kind of public screening in anywhere besides LA and the major areas. And Last Jedi was the same thing. So,
well, I mean, you do live. You do live in Sacramento, and that is, it is the capital of California, but it is a smaller city, right?
But it's also true. Most big movies we get, it's rare for us not to. So when we don't get something big, it's a little weird.
When have you not? Did you guys get Batman versus Superman?
Yes.
Okay. When have you not gotten something big?
Like I said, the two that come to mind are Force Awakens and Last Jedi. That's it. They did press screenings for that I was invited to, and that's it.
Those two, The Last Jedi was divisive, but it did get good reviews, and so did Force
Awakens. 2049 is one. We didn't get any public screening for that.
The Force Awakens got good. Do you think? So to me, it's just because it sounds like it's not because the movie's bad and they're trying to hide it from you guys. It sounds like it's just one of those situations where they're focused more on the more populated areas, I imagine.
Maybe, but it's still weird because Marvel hasn't done this before.
Marvel and Disney, get a screening out to Sacramento so Jay can see it before it comes out.
Not just Sacramento, everywhere. I mean, because it's like the only place you're getting is like maybe LA, and that's it. That's
right. Well, that's one reason you do you. That's one reason it's good to live here is that when they have these screenings, when they have the screenings, you can see them and you can see them early. Like what? Oh, I saw The Last Jedi at Disney. I saw The Force Awakens at Disney, and I saw Rogue One all at Disney. So,
yeah, and I got to see those opening nights. So I'll probably have to do it with Infinity War, but it's still just kind of like we usually most of the time a big movie gets most things. So it's kind of.
So here's my question: do you think is this a movie that's like just too big where ultimately that could hurt it, like maybe Batman versus Superman?
It could. It's a possibility because so far with the films, they haven't done on this big of a scale. So it could.
They've gone pretty big in some of them.
Not this big though, and not against this powerful of an enemy, to my knowledge.
Right.
Because Ultron was powerful, the Kree were powerful, but they weren't this powerful.
I don't think they ever. Well, they fought Ronan in Guardians of the Galaxy.
True, but Ronan
was pretty powerful.
True, but that was just the Guardians, though. This is everybody pretty much like trying to take on Thanos. And as far as we know so far, Thanos is not even getting all the Infinity Stones yet. Already what we've seen in the trailers, he's already been a force to be reckoned with. And that's without all the Infinity Stones.
Right.
Which he may not get, by the way, until.
Do you think this is a situation where Marvel is so good at what they do, there's no way it can fail?
I don't know.
Really?
Yeah,
You're
I'm
not.
not sure.
You don't sound confident.
I want to be. I want to be, but this
After what's happened with Black Panther and Doctor Strange, shouldn't we have more faith in Marvel and what they can do with their films?
I want
Thor,
to.
Thor Ragnarok. Look at how good that movie was.
I want to, and I
Okay.
hope I'm wrong. But it's just I'm hesitant because there's just some red flags up for me.
Okay, so what are the red? Tell me what your red flags are.
Such a big scale, so much going on. The fact
So
that it'll probably end
all
on a
right, all right.
cliffhanger.
So do you think there could be a risk of too many characters in this film? Just
Yeah,
way
and
too
trying
many.
to have them all together where it makes sense. You know?
Right.
And it's just because it's true. This isn't the first time Hollywood has done something this big of a scale.
Did
Even
you
though it
like
wasn't
Civil
even,
War though?
I did.
Well, Civil War, I mean, not as that big a scale as Infinity War, but you did have a lot of characters. And
True.
it did make sense, I think.
True. I just I want to be excited for this, and like I said,
Okay.
I'm going to see it on hopefully Thursday or Friday. But
All right.
I don't know. It's just I haven't seen Marvel do this before. It was like when Disney did that with Force Awakens. It was weird because again, most of the time, big films, Sacramento and other
But that's
places.
not necessarily a reason to be worried about it.
It is for me because, like I said, it's.
But did you dislike Force Awakens?
No, I did not.
So then why? So if it is for you, then why are you worried?
It's not even necessarily worried. It's just more like cautious.
Cautious. Okay, I think it's fair to be cautious because this is such a big movie, you know.
And it's a movie too where it'll either be really good or really bad, no in between.
Well, here's my like. There's just so much.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we've hit. You know that saying peak oil?
No.
Okay, you don't know. All right. Well, I'm not going to explain that, but
Give me a basic gist of it.
Well, all right. I'll give you the definition of the term.
Okay.
Peak oil. The hypothetical point in time when the global production of oil reaches its maximum rate, after which production will gradually decline.
Okay, so you're saying that this may be the apex, and after that, things may go downhill. Is that what you're saying?
It could be. It could be. You know, but you know what? People and analysts have been predicting that for a long time. James Cameron is in the news, and he's like outright rooting for it, for Avengers fatigue after this movie comes out. And it hasn't really I mean, look at Black Panther. That's not an Avengers movie, but it's a Marvel film, and it's not now. It's like their biggest movie to date. So it just seems like they keep breaking all the benchmarks
most of the time. But I will say Ant-Man was okay. It was not as strong.
Ant-Man's not my favorite, but I mean, like but Ant-Man, Jay, people thought Ant-Man was gonna bomb. You know, like people thought it was gonna bomb. One, it didn't bomb. Two, it got good reviews. So that's another as far as all the margins go, all the benchmarks go, Ant-Man is another feather in Marvel's cap. But then look at Doctor Strange, a very lesser known character. They turned into a big franchise. The Guardians of the Galaxy, same thing. And now the Guardians of the
Galaxy and Doctor Strange are different because Doctor Strange was a movie I thought was good. But Guardians of the Galaxy was a surprise hit because even Marvel thought Guardians of the Galaxy was going to fail. They thought that was going to fail. Yes, they did. Yes, they did.
You cannot. They knew it was going to. No, they didn't.
No, they feared it was going to fail because the characters like that year for Halloween there were no costumes out first. They thought it was going to be a bomb. They didn't think it was going to be as big as it was.
The movie didn't come out. The movie didn't come out for Halloween.
It came out before Halloween in that summer, and that Halloween.
The movie was the biggest movie of the summer.
True, but the thing is, still for Halloween that year, like I remember at Spirit Halloween, I worked there. They had nothing for it because a lot of people thought it was going to bomb. They didn't think it was going to be as big as.
You mean the Halloween before it came out is what you're saying?
No, the Halloween after it came out.
But it already came out and was a success.
But they order all their costumes long before that.
So you mean at the store? You mean at the store? Okay, that doesn't mean Disney and Marvel think it's going to fail.
They did think it was going to fail, though. When
you can't. That's not true. That is not. They wouldn't have made the movie if they thought it was going to fail. For starters,
They had their doubts it was going to do well. They did.
Everyone, they probably had their doubts about Ant-Man, and then Ant-Man surpassed all their expectations, and they're making a sequel.
Not as
So,
much as Guardians of the Galaxy.
Jay, you're killing me here.
Just saying.
You're wrong. I mean, the people who thought Guardians of the Galaxy were going to fail didn't work for Kevin Feige and Marvel Studios. That's what I'm going to say. But my point is that here's my point. Marvel is good at making those characters that you think are going to fail and can't work on film into major billion-dollar franchises. Now we have this big movie. It's the biggest thing they've ever done by far. And we're talking like maybe a $300 million budget. The movie is going to be like 2.5 hours long.
Probably.
I don't think it would be a Batman versus Superman or a Justice League situation. But I guess I'm concerned because the movie is so big, and we've basically been waiting 10 years or basically 6, since that's when we first saw Thanos in
Avengers.
And we only saw him a little bit in Guardians of the Galaxy. So here's my point. We've had 6 to 10 years to build our expectations for this. So our expectations are sky high, right? So people are bound to be disappointed, don't you think? Because their expectations are so high. Because they've built up this franchise so much, and we've been waiting for this confrontation so long. It's almost like, how can it be as good as you imagine it? You know what I mean?
True. But I still think this movie is going to end in a cliffhanger just because of Avengers 4.
Well, that's right, because Avengers 4 does come out in 1 year from now. So,
and that'll probably be the final. So I think
they film these movies back to back.
And I imagine that, but in the trailers we've seen so far, he doesn't even have all the Infinity Stones. He has like 2 or 3 of them.
Well, we don't know if he'll get them all. Technically,
I'm just going by the trailers here. By the trailers, we've seen him have
2.
Yes, which was the
purple one from Guardians of the Galaxy, which is the Power Stone,
and then
the blue one, the Tesseract, which is the Power.
And those are only 2, right?
Yeah, Doctor Strange has green, which is time, and Vision, the android, he has the Mind Stone, which is like a yellow. I want to say yellow.
I thought he had the same stone that Loki had in his staff. Am I wrong?
Yeah, it's the same one.
Is it? But I thought that was the Tesseract. Am I wrong?
No, the Tesseract was a different one.
So so that means all 5 stones are in the field then, right?
No, they're not. The red one, the ether from that was way back. We're talking 5 years ago.
But who has that one now then?
The Collector from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Okay, yeah. So that means it is technically in the field because they know, like, Thanos will be able to find it, right?
Probably, but the thing is, and he doesn't have it in any of the footage we've seen, so it's weird, you know.
Did he lose it somehow? Maybe.
Well, he never got it. He's never had it.
So he never got the Aether, is what you're saying?
The Aether, yeah, which is reality. The Aether represents reality.
And we saw that in Thor: The Dark World.
Correct. And the last one, so the 6th one is called Soul, and we haven't seen it yet.
Wait, there's 6?
The only one we haven't seen anything of is Soul. So here's what it is.
Okay.
Purple is power.
Is
power. Guardians of the Galaxy.
Okay.
Blue is space. That was Avengers and Captain America.
The Tesseract, you mean?
Yes, the Tesseract.
Okay.
Purple one, they called it the Orb.
Okay.
Blue is, but it's called the Space Stone.
Okay.
The Tesseract. It gives you the power to, like, each one does a different thing. It can.
And then moving on, so the green one is time, which
is Doctor Strange's Eye of Agamotto. Doctor Strange has that.
And then
the Mind Stone, which was in the staff. Is what Vision has, and that gives you the power to control minds, basically.
Okay.
So,
and then the Aether is one, which supposedly
the Aether is red. and that represents reality, and that
Okay.
one is in the possession of the collector. We've
Now,
never
I
seen
thought-
it,
Now,
and we've never seen it since Thor: The Dark World. We haven't seen any of it.
Now, time out though.
Yeah.
I thought in all the footage we've only seen spots for 5 stones. Am I wrong?
There are 6.
I know, but I mean, in the footage we've only seen 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah,
right?
and then one goes right there.
I thought that was the 5th one.
No, that's the 6. So one for each knuckle, including the thumb.
Oh, really?
The thumb too goes on the thumb.
Does it?
Yes.
I guess I've
look at a picture. Look at a picture of the gauntlet again.
Fine, I will, because I could have sworn that it was just.
There are 6. There are 6 stones, man.
Okay, let me look at this.
Look at Infinity Gauntlet. There's 5 fingers. So basically, a stone for each finger, including the thumb, in the center of the hand, is what it is.
Let me look at this.
Plus, I know it from the comics. Okay.
I'm not saying you don't. I'm just trying to let's see here. God, the problem is this photo is bad. I can't see the one in the thumb. I can see the 4 fingers. I can see the one in the middle, but the one from the trailer, I can't. I know. I just can't.
Don't look at the movie. Look at the comics. It's
I know the comics. I'm just saying that in the picture you can't see the thumb one. Doesn't mean it's not.
All right.
Or you just can't see it. And all right. Wait. You're right.
All right.
Come out. So you're right.
So there are 6, and we've only seen 5.
So the orange one we haven't seen yet.
I believe
one, right?
Soul. Yeah, orange. So yellow is Visions, and that one is the Mind Stone.
Okay.
So we haven't seen the Soul Stone yet.
And I'm looking from the trailer again. We see that he does get a hold of the Power Stone and the Tesseract.
And the Tesseract represents space. So he has power and space.
So we see those 2, and then we see a scene in the trailer where Vision loses the one out of his
He's not losing it, but it looks like one of the bad guys is trying to grab it from him.
Yeah, something like that. And
we haven't actually seen him lose it yet, or Thanos get it.
And then we have so
there's time. Doctor Strange has the time one. It's his amulet.
And that's the one on the thumb, it looks like, which is interesting. That's what it looks like.
At
least I'm seeing a toy one, that's where it shows it.
I'm trying to look at the photo.
Yeah.
I'm
spinning D23. Damn it.
You see, because the original teaser trailer, he has all of them, and the order is different than what we've seen in the TV spots. So we don't. I want to know how he gets the ether, because we haven't seen it at all.
Yeah, true. I wonder where the Soul Stone is.
We're going on a big tangent here, but
it's true, but it's still Infinity War related.
Right. Well, right, but we don't know where the Soul Stone is, and we don't know where the ether is and why he hasn't picked it up.
So at least from what we've seen from the trailers so far, he'll get a hold of at least 2, maybe 3 of the Infinity Stones, and that's it.
Well, 4 if he gets Doctor Strange and Visions, he would have 4.
Yeah, but I'm guessing at least 3. That's my guess. That's my prediction.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I mean, to me, it wouldn't be much of an Infinity War if Thanos never completes the gauntlet. I mean, come on.
Which he'll probably will in either I'd probably guess in Avengers 4 he probably would.
I mean, we don't know. We still don't know anything about Avengers 4 yet, other than I think they shot both these movies back to back.
Yeah, and they originally were just going to call it Infinity War 1 and 2. There's no name for 4 yet.
Yeah, but
which we'll probably find out at Comic-Con what the name is, I would guess.
Apparently, the name of the movie is a big spoiler, which I don't want to make too many assumptions on what it's going to be.
The problem is there's been supposed names for it, but they're not official. So just like I saw they already had a name for the new Star Wars, but it's not an official name. So it could be someone.
Well, like you were like what? Like the new X-Men movie, they were calling it Supernova for a while, and now it's called Dark Phoenix, right?
True.
Like I don't think like Supernova was probably a working title, but not an official title.
Yeah.
I have some ideas on what it would be called, but I don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't want to speculate.
It's best to just wait till we get the official, and I guess it would be a.
I'll tell you, I've been avoiding spoilers a lot for this movie.
I have too. There's been a lot of clips on YouTube. I don't want to look.
Yeah. Like I kind of just want like I I've never really been hardcore about avoiding them before, but this one I'm really trying to not know
Well,
what
this one they're
happens.
putting too many clips on is the problem. So there's stuff where it's like, you like if you're not careful, you'll freaking find stuff out you don't want to
It's
find
crazy.
out.
It's crazy. But I mean, what was it like when you first saw Iron Man in 2008? And did you ever imagine we could see like an Avengers? I mean, even back in 2008, an Avengers film seemed like a faraway dream, and now we've seen that. But to see a
Yeah.
movie like this with not just Iron Man and Captain America and Thor and Hulk, but we got all those characters plus
Mhm.
Spider-Man
Mhm.
plus all the new characters. Did you ever imagine this?
No, because one forgets sometimes that before they did Iron Man, Marvel wasn't doing that good with their movies. There were some good here, like Spider-Man was good, at least 1 and 2, but
The first and second X-Men movie, but not the third.
was that Marvel?
Yeah, well, the X-Men are Marvel, but
I know, but
20th Century
wasn't
Fox.
that Fox at the time, or did Marvel actually own it at the time?
Um, I mean, Marvel didn't own Spider-Man at the time. It was Sony.
Okay.
Technically, Sony
I mean,
still
like,
owns the rights
but
for
they did a
Spider-Man.
lot of flops. Like Daredevil was a flop. Electro was
Daredevil didn't
terrible.
flop, but it did disappoint.
Electro bombed.
Elektra did bomb.
Actually, Catwoman was DC, so that doesn't count.
The Hulk was a disappointment.
Both Hulks were a disappointment. Yes.
Well, Hulk came out. The second one came out after Iron Man.
Did it?
Yeah,
Mm.
Incredible Hulk came out in 2008. It came out the summer after Iron Man.
Well, that was still a disappointment too. But anyways, the
Well,
point
I
was,
mean that's why we're not seeing any more Hulk movies, buddy.
yeah, the point is, before they did Iron Man,
Yeah,
they were more hit than miss, and not only that,
right.
there was a lot riding on Iron Man
You
because
mean there were
Iron
more
Man
miss?
didn't do
You think they were more misses than they had hits back then?
before Iron Man,
Right,
yes. And there was a lot riding on it because if they did something wrong, we wouldn't have gotten what we've gotten. It was just the reality.
right. I mean, I guess back then, I always thought like Iron Man could be a cool movie, but I was always worried like could Thor be a big character? You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Mm-hmm.
like I wasn't sure Thor could be like a major big character, but they were able to do that, and Thor became like $1 billion franchise. And
Mm-hmm.
look at how popular Thor is now.
And look what it did for Favreau too.
Oh yeah, Favreau's doing. He's going to be in Solo, by the way. He
Really?
plays one of the alien characters. But yeah, yeah, that Iron Man, it really put Favreau's directing career on the map. It revived Robert Downey Jr.'s career. Robert Downey Jr. was, I mean, he was not a big, like, he was well known at the time, but he wasn't a big star, and it made
Yeah,
Robert Downey Jr. one of the biggest stars on the planet,
that's
basically.
true. Yeah.
And he just, like, after Iron Man, he just had hit after hit. He had Tropic Thunder,
Mm-hmm.
the Sherlock Holmes films,
Mm-hmm.
and we were able to get him continuing to play Iron Man for the last 10 years as well.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these actors too are probably going to be going away. What do you think about that?
I think so. And, it's again just speculation, but there's been two reasons really. One, some of them are just getting tired of the character they've wanted to quit for years. Like Chris Evans has wanted to quit for a while and direct. I think Robert Downey Jr. is just.
I don't think he wants to quit, but I feel like he thinks the
I've
character's
just seen articles in the past where he said he wants to move on.
I don't think I that's not how I read what he's saying though. But
And Robert Downey Jr. has that. There's been talk before where he's wanted to quit, then he gets more money. He's like, all right, fine, I'll keep doing it. Chris Hemsworth said, I thought I read somewhere where he might be coming toward his end.
I kind of get the sense a lot of these actors are going to be going away. I do agree with that.
And I think it's speculation of just how Thor may end up, which in the comics, it kind of ended up that way anyway, didn't it?
What?
A lot of them got taken out because of just the full Infinity.
I mean, they get taken out one way or the other, but then they always come back too.
Didn't we also have recently in the comics they've kind of redone new versions once these characters anyway?
Yeah, but then they bring them back. So
because I thought that Black Falcon became Captain America, right?
Black Falcon, he's Falcon.
In the comics.
Falcon did become Captain America, yeah.
Because Captain America actually became old, right?
But then Steve Rogers became Captain America again eventually.
He became young again?
Yeah.
Okay. And for a while they had a female.
For a while, Bucky was Captain America before Falcon.
And they had for a while. They had the female Thor. I mean, yeah, the female Thor.
Right.
They came out with a new version of Iron Man, which was a African American woman who had a different name. She wasn't called Iron Man.
She was Ironheart.
Yes.
Riri Williams. But I think they did that for a while, but I think all the characters are coming back though. That's the thing.
Well, they had in the comics at one time too, which in the trailer how Steve Rogers
here's my point. When they do things like that, Jay, they're kind of like those changes usually aren't permanent.
But remember in the trailer too, an important thing to remember too, because they had in the comics and it was controversial, where it turned out Captain America was a sleeper Hydra agent.
That was very controversial.
And the thing is, in the trailer, we do see that Steve Rogers looks like he's seen better days. So maybe he dealt with that. Who knows? We'll see.
What? What are you suggesting?
I just mean, like, he has the beard. He doesn't have his costume anymore. He lost his shield somehow. So
he's not Captain. Well, the idea is that he's no longer Captain America.
I thought he had his own team, though, didn't he? Or am I
wrong? In the film?
Well, I mean, after Civil War, didn't him and all the people who were in jail kind of go with him?
Well, yeah, he got them out, but we don't know what they've been doing or where they've been or what they've been up to, really.
I guess we'll find out.
We'll find out when we see the movie. Mm-hmm. So it makes it seem like they went on the run and just kind of did things on their own, but who knows what they were really doing?
And we have to remember too that Black Widow has different colored hair now.
How good? How great is it? I think that Spider-Man's in the mix now, or do you not like Spider-Man being around?
I do, and he's going to have the Iron suit, so that'll be cool to see.
The Iron Spider suit. So that
which means
how excited are you to see the Iron Spider?
I'm excited to see it, and it'll mean that he's actually technically an actual official member of the Avengers now, right?
I guess so.
Because he was going to be, but then he's like,
it looks like they're making Black Panther and Black Panther's friends and Shuri and all those people and all of Wakanda. It looks like they're joining the Avengers too. Mm-hmm. So looks like we're gonna have a lot
and maybe the Kree came back because we see them fighting something, right?
The Kree,
do you think?
The people they're fighting are the Black Order.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we're gonna see them finally. We've seen them plenty of times on the Guardians
on the Guardians of the Galaxy and Avengers, and they've been on Avengers Assemble.
You mean Avenger or Secret War?
That's still Avengers Assemble.
They haven't been on Secret War?
That's Avengers. Yes, that's Avengers Assemble. It's the same show.
Okay.
It's the same show. Yeah. So those are fairly recent characters though. That have been created in the last 5 years, basically. They're newer. Yeah.
I didn't know they were that new.
They're not older. Like Thanos has been around since the 70s.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Spider-Man's been around since the early 60s.
Yeah.
Has Spider-Man, though, to you, he's been a good addition to the franchise, you think?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, Tom Holland did an amazing job with Homecoming, and Marvel did a good job there because they didn't do the origin again, which we've heard so many different times by now. It wasn't necessary. So, yeah, he's been a great addition.
I think after we saw it a second time with Andrew Garfield, we couldn't see it a third time. Mm-hmm. Is there any particular aspect of this movie you're looking forward to the most?
I'm definitely looking forward to how the Guardians will play into it. It looks like by the trailer, hopefully they're not at the very end. Hopefully we get to see more of them in the film. So I'm looking forward to that. And it'll be nice because really we haven't seen Thanos actually kick butt. It looks like by the trailer we're going to see that plenty. So I'm looking forward to that. Yeah. Because seeing Josh Brolin actually in action as Thanos rather than just sitting in a chair or maybe grabbing the gauntlet, something like that, it'll be nice to see that. So that'll be cool.
Here are my main things. I hope everything makes sense based on the previously established films, and I hope they kind of because I hope we understand how Thanos gets all the stones. Because I mean, obviously we know how he gets the Tesseract, but we don't.
He gives it to him, yeah.
Yeah, obviously. But we don't I want to when he gets the Power Stone was at the Nova Corps on Xandar. So I hope they at least imply how he would have gotten that and the ether and all that. Since we have so many characters in this film, I hope certain characters are bound to get shortchanged You would think. So I hope they make the most out of all these characters' screen time. I don't believe any of the TV characters will be in there. I think if we only see one character from TV, I think it'll probably be Coulson. But I doubt we'll even see him.
Yeah, I doubt it.
You know, I don't think anyone who suspects we're going to see the Defenders, or we're definitely not going to see the Defenders or any of the other TV heroes.
I don't know. Actually, that's hard to say. Maybe in Avengers 4.
It wouldn't make sense. It wouldn't. Well, I mean,
in Avengers 4, it might, just because we know that no matter what happens in this movie, the Avengers will either be beaten and a little weakened, so they would need more help.
Right, but everyone, like, based on Defenders, everyone's supposed to think Daredevil is dead. So they haven't. So
we don't have to see him. We could still see Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist, though, right?
Yeah, the way they dealt with those characters, it wouldn't really make sense for them to show up. I don't think.
I agree with Infinity War, but I think in Avengers 4, maybe.
I don't think I think in Avengers 4 we're gonna see like Captain Marvel. It'll be like Captain Marvel, Ant-Man and the Wasp, and probably Spider-Man and Black Panther.
Maybe we'll see.
I think I don't want to. Again, I don't want it, but that's what I think. I think they're going to focus on the newer heroes, basically.
Maybe we'll see. That's just the truth.
But I guess.
Or shall we keep going?
I guess the last thing. I guess the main thing. I just wanted to make sense and be. I guess Thanos. Oh, there's a major part of Thanos' backstory that we haven't gotten much of, like what Thanos wants. All we get is that he wants balance or something. And that's to me, that's not what Thanos wants. So if that's all that he wants, I will say that I will be disappointed. There is a deeper part of his backstory that we haven't seen come across in the films yet. And that's what I really want to happen. And if it's just a matter of he's trying to bring balance to the universe, I can't deal with that. I'm sorry.
Well, that's my main thing. Just remember, if we don't get it in this, we'll get it in 4.
If they at least imply we'll get it in 4, I'd be okay with that. But if
that could be one of the final cutscenes at the end,
we'll see. I don't want. I mean, it needs to make sense. So
you've had some good Thanos cutscenes already at the end of these films.
They're not. I mean, well, they're not cutscenes. They're credit scenes.
That's what I mean. But you know what I mean. Like,
I mean, they've been okay, but like for since we've waited 6 years to see a movie with Thanos, we've waited 6 years for this. It needs, if they aren't consistent with the character's backstory, I will be a little disappointed. I'll say that.
Now here's a question, and this is the last question I have. How many after credit scenes do you think there will be?
1. 2 at the most. They'll have one in the middle.
Remember,
they'll have one in the middle and one at the end, at most.
Because Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 had like 3 or 4.
Guardians had like 5.
Yeah. And this is bigger scale than Guardians Volume 2.
Yeah, but Guardians, it made sense because the credits were like animated and there was a lot of stuff going on. The Russo, if you look at the Russo brothers films, they'll do like one in the middle and then one at the end, and that's the most we'll see. Black Panther had like one in the middle, one at the end. Thor Ragnarok.
Wait, time out. For Black Panther, what was the one at the end? Because remember the one at the middle. What was the one at the end?
The one at the end was
that's
Bucky.
Right, where Bucky
wakes up in Wakanda.
That's right. You're right.
And he's cured.
Yeah, I forgot about that one for a second, but yeah, I remember that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thor Ragnarok, one in the middle, one at the end.
And what was the one at the end for that one? I remember that. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Ragnarok. The end for that one was the Grandmaster.
Yeah. That's right.
Grandmaster.
Back after I asked, it's crazy.
Right. Some of them aren't as memorable as others. So I think, again, we'll see like a mid-credit stinger and then one at the end. So no more than that. If anything.
You're right.
So that was my thought on that.
I wouldn't be surprised if there was 3, but no more.
Okay, so just so you know, Thanos' backstory in the comic, his whole like reason for doing everything is because he's in love with the female avatar of Death,
Hmm.
who's a woman named Lady Death. So imagine if the Grim Reaper basically was like a woman, who Thanos is obsessed with, and he wants to impress her. So his reason for getting the Infinity Gauntlet, he collects the gauntlet and he like wipes out half the universe to impress her, basically. Like he's like, oh look, I just killed all these people like me. That's his whole thing. He's obsessively in love with this woman, who is the physical, or maybe not so physical, the representation of Death, who's a woman, and he wants her to like return his affections, basically. So I need to have that in the movie in some way. All right, so now we can move on. All right, so now we wanted to get into Super Troopers 2. Yes. I've not gotten around to seeing that yet, so I'm hopefully going to see that this week. Hopefully before I see Avengers. I love the first I love the whole Broken Lizards crew in their films, and I love the first Super Troopers, and I love Club Dread. I got to go to a college, like when I was in college, there was like a campus screening of Club Dread that I got to go to, and it was a ton of fun. Do you remember Club Dread at all, Jay?
No, I don't.
That was their second, like basically their second movie. Do you remember the first Super Troopers?
I do, yes.
Okay, so this new movie just came out. They did crowdfunding for it, I think on on Kickstarter, right?
Like the first million or something like that, yeah.
So some of it was crowdfunded online. So how did this one turn out, basically?
It's an absolute mess from start to finish.
So you were disappointed.
Well, here's what's weird about this movie.
Do you like the first movie?
First of all, this movie is there was like only like 25 people at the screening. That never happens for anything. They wanted
it's a small movie.
But still, it has a big following, right?
It did well.
And so, anyway,
the movie overperformed at the box office. It made 14.7 million.
Okay, so let me just get into what I think of this movie. And remember, I'm a big fan of the first one. I like the first one a lot. Okay, it was a great movie. It was a surprise hit. It was a very funny movie.
The first one didn't make a lot of money, though, Jay.
But it still was a really good movie. So let me get into this one.
The first one was really the definition of like a cult hit, really.
And so what this movie reminds me a lot of Transformers: The Last Knight.
Okay. And that's an odd comparison to make.
Well, let me explain why the comparison. Because they did such a good first movie. I wonder how they screwed this one up so bad, and they did, in my opinion. And almost everyone who's thought with me.
So maybe a better comparison is Revenge of the Fallen.
I didn't see that, to be fair.
That was the second Transformers.
The reason I use the comparison is because, well, no, I use the comparison because the first few Transformers were good, right? At least the first two.
No.
I beg to differ. Moving on.
The first, you said you didn't. Revenge of the Fallen was the second one. You said you didn't see that.
No. All right, sorry. Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen. Okay, fine. But my point is, Michael Bay has directed all the Transformers, right?
The first Transformers movie, I think, is watchable. So I'll give you the first one.
Fine. So the first Transformers, and I think the third one and even the fourth one for me were at least still watchable.
Okay.
But the last one was wrong it was bad in every single way from start to finish.
Okay.
And that's how Super Troopers 2 was.
I don't think it's the best I think a better comparison would be the last two Ninja Turtles films.
Well, that's not for me either because I liked the first one. And the second one
I like the first Ninja Turtles, but the second one is like
It's not the same for me either. For me, the comparison still stands because when I left Transformers: The Last Knight, I was in shock at how bad it was.
Okay.
And Super Troopers 2, I was the exact same.
So you were in shock at how bad this movie was?
Yes. I left in shock going, how did they screw this up so bad? And they did.
How did they screw it up?
None of the jokes are funny. Far of it is absolutely annoying. You want to punch him in the face. And he was kind of annoying in the first one, but not this bad.
What did he do?
He's just he's just a jerk throughout. He's a dick to everybody throughout. And you're
he's like that in the first movie.
Not as bad. He's a lot worse in this than he was in the first one. There's barely a plot. There barely is a plot. They have a plot, but they barely follow it. It seems like most of it is just improvised or something, because it seems like a lot of it just they made up on the top of their heads, and it's not funny because of that. It falls flat. All the jokes fell flat to me.
Okay.
Once during this entire movie. There's parts like the beginning is really weird and makes no sense. The end pretty much is just like a big, middle finger to everybody, because it pretty much shows. And
don't spoil it though.
I'm not spoiling it. But the ending is one of those endings where like once it ends, you're like, why did you go on this journey in the first place? That's basically what happens, and that's not spoiling anything. And it just like
this movie not need a sequel?
No, it didn't. And it's just weird because the fans wanted it. The fans kind of helped make it happen. And to me, it felt like a big middle finger to the fans. That's what it felt like to me.
Did any of the characters from the first movie who are back for this one get married?
No.
Do any of them have girlfriends?
Well, the one guy has the girl. The one guy has we see the girlfriend for like 1-2 scenes. Who the blonde
from the first one, right?
We see her. But the African American guy who in the first one had a wife and a kid.
He's Indian, not African American.
Sorry about that. But he had in the first one either a wife and a kid or a girlfriend and a kid, right?
He had a girlfriend and a kid, so they aren't in there?
No, they don't exist. And there's stuff that happens.
His kid would probably be like an adult now, wouldn't he? Don't you think?
It's still weird to not see him.
It's been 16 years, so maybe he's off on his own. But like, what happened to his girlfriend?
We don't know. She's not. We're just like, what happened? It's weird. And the film starts where like Farva is like a contractor, and he's like the guys are working with him, and he's just a dick to them. It's just it's just one of those movies. Like I'm like, how did you?
Do they do any of the games like Meow?
Huh?
Meow. Remember Meow? That was my favorite
scene. They do a little twist to it, but it's not funny. It's weak. It feels forced.
So I get the sense they probably shouldn't have made this movie. As much as I like Super Troopers.
No, they shouldn't have, because it seems like almost felt to me like they did this one so bad they don't have to do a 3. Is what
here's my thing. Like sometimes like you want to just enjoy a movie and enjoy it, and not everything needs a sequel, Like
it doesn't.
Well, like let me say, like I like Austin Powers a lot. Did you see the Austin Powers films?
Yes, I did.
I still think the first one is the best one. I think the second one is decent. The third is the worst.
I beg to differ. I think the first is good. The second is better. The third is trash. I agree. Third is garbage.
So you basically agree. That's basically how What, do you think the second one is the best?
I do, yes.
Okay. So the third one is, you would agree, the worst of the I think the second one, the second one I think is close to on par with the original.
Yeah.
But the third one, it's kind of like, just get out of here. Like, why did you even make this?
Well,
right?
The third one that like they try way too hard to make funny. They recycle jokes, and this one did that a lot too. It tried way too hard to be funny, and it's just there's so many parts. I'm just like, that's not funny. That's just weird. I almost wonder if Linda Carter when they made this movie.
How is Linda Carter still the governor? That's what I want to know.
I don't know.
Like, what year is this movie even set?
I want to say modern times.
It's set in present day. Linda Carter, her character was the governor in the first one.
Yeah.
Do you know when the first one came out? 2002.
Yeah.
So how could she still be the governor like over a decade and a half later? Did she lose the election and run again like 10 years later?
I don't know. And Rob Lowe can't save this movie just like Anthony Hopkins couldn't save the last.
What about is Brian Cox good at least?
Who does he play in this?
He's the captain, Captain O'Hagan. He was the captain in the first one.
A lot of what really sucks about these characters, a lot of these characters are just put in zany, ridiculous situations, and it doesn't work for them. That's what really happened. So, like, it's almost like they threw these characters together, but it seems like they just said, okay, guys, just make up all the lines up top of your head. Because it reminds me also of Cook-Off. Do you ever see that movie?
Was that another Broken Lizard one?
No, but that was a movie where it was mostly improv. Like, 3/4 it was all improvisation.
I never saw this movie.
I got a review copy of it myself, but it had a weird story. It came out at, like, a film festival, didn't get released for 10 years, and then it got released on DVD and Blu-ray just, like, maybe in the last 3
2017, so... Melissa McCarthy was in this movie.
And it was probably one of her first. But the point is, this movie felt like they improvised too much, where it just got ridiculous and didn't make sense.
All right, so just not really fun.
I actually gave this movie a 0 out of 10. I don't think I've ever given a movie that.
Wow. Much. And I really I would recommend. You know what I would do though, Jay? I would recommend you sit down and watch Club Dread at some point.
I may do that, but this movie, I'm pretty much telling people to avoid this movie like the plague. Go see like Ready Player One or A Quiet Place or something instead, because. And it's been.
Are you saying even though I love Super Troopers, I shouldn't see this movie?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Wow.
Don't waste your money.
Okay.
Because, and the thing is, like I said, across the board, like when I left that press screening that was only maybe 5-10 press, everybody was like, "Oh my God, what in the world was that garbage?" So it's not just me thinking this way.
The movie's doing well though.
Mm.
It's making it's probably going to make even more money than the original, which wasn't a lot.
Maybe.
It's not maybe. It is, Jay. There's no maybe. Okay.
It's not going to make any more after Infinity War because everybody's going to go and see that instead.
Well, I mean, it's already made. It's already surpassed its budget.
What was its budget, like $5 million or something?
It's $13.5 million according to box office.
Was the budget of the first one higher?
No, lower.
Really?
The first one was like a little independent film.
Jeez, maybe they went too big with this one. Maybe that's what happened.
So the first one was $3 million. So this one was, so we're talking like at least 4 times as much for this one. But it was 4 times. That's how you get Rob Lowe and all those people. All right, let's move on from that. One thing that we had on the docket for last week, but we never got to. I kind of wanted to get to that already. Ready Player One. Ernest Cline, my understanding is he's writing a sequel to the book, not the movie, the book.
Correct.
Ernest Cline, he wrote the book. The film was based on, and he co-wrote the film with Zach Penn. Yes. So, you like the book a lot, Jay. So how?
And I'm glad for this news because at least how the book ends, it makes perfect sense to do a sequel. You can do a sequel. It doesn't feel forced. It doesn't feel like you have to.
Okay.
It makes sense. You can do it. Like, you remember the ending, right?
Yeah.
Because the ending of the book isn't the happy ending we get in the movie. It's an ending of like, okay, well, now this happened and now what? So in the book we can find out, okay, here's what.
So it's more open-ended, and in the movie is more like more of a typical
Hollywood happy ending.
Yeah, Hollywood happy ending, Spielberg ending.
And where, they could even go into like, okay, yeah, what do they change with like, with the rules of the Oasis? Because IOI is probably not gone. Let's
right.
That. Probably not.
So I have some more details on this. Ernest Cline made a statement. This is an older one. I'm trying to find one that's more recent.
Like on Twitter or something? Did I follow him on Twitter? Let me see if I do.
No, on Okay, so here's Ernest Cline talking to Den of Geek. The fun of the sequel for me would be exploring other facets of pop culture that I love and not just using the same ones over again. That's one of the reasons that I'm drawn to write more stories in the world. It was a lot of work creating the Oasis and the rules of the Oasis. The Oasis was kind of the ultimate video game and the ultimate entertainment platform, and that's a very fun landscape in which to tell stories. So we don't have too many details, but I imagine, shouldn't you call the book Ready Player 2?
You would think so, but who knows, right?
That would be the perfect. That's your title right there, I think.
Well, I don't know. The problem with that title is it almost sounds like, well, duh, you'd call it that. Like when you could call it something better instead.
What would you call it instead then? Ready Player 1 2. Ready Player 1 2.
I don't know. I just think I would kind of hope he'd come up with something better. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Because that's not a bad title, but it's kind of a no. It'd be like if J.K. Rowling called Harry Potter the second book just like Harry Potter Continued, rather than Chamber of Secrets, right?
Okay. Apparently, this news has been in the pipeline for a while, but
I think after the movie came out, it started to get put out there more.
Right. I think that's I think he's been planning to write a sequel, but I imagine the success of the movie is only going to increase, like, and give Ernest Cline more incentive, because don't you think once he writes a sequel to the book, like the sales are going to be huge, right?
Yeah. But
Because
the one thing I did see though was, at least so far, was Spielberg said he's not directing a sequel, but if they want to do a sequel movie, he said I'm not doing it.
Let's see.
Because he said it was a lot harder to do the first movie than he thought. It was like his third hardest movie he's ever done.
That's understandable.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd need to hear him say it though to believe that.
Mm-hmm. If they offer him enough, he'll do it. But right now, he's like, I'd rather not.
Let's see. Ernest Cline said, I had to start writing the sequel to The Hollywood Reporter last year while the movie was being finished, just to stay ahead of the curve. He added, it's a good problem to have, but if this movie does well, the following week they'll decide whether or not they want to make Ready Player One 2, and it occurred to me I should finish. Ernest Cline said, I always intended to write more in the series, but I never imagined the movie would get done more before I finished writing them, so I had to kick it into high gear. Let's see. I'm trying to find a quote by Spielberg. I've never heard Spielberg definitively say he wouldn't do it, Jay.
Okay, well, I just could have sworn I saw something like that. I thought, like he had said, he had commented he didn't want to do a sequel because the first one was so hard.
Well, I mean, that's not a reason not to do something.
Well, at least right now, that's what he said. Like, so that could change.
Can you tell me where you saw that? I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong, but I'm like, I haven't seen that anywhere.
I thought I saw that when I saw.
Where did you see that story?
I want to say on Google when I saw that he said he was going to do.
Google, like what? Where can, like, just tell me where I can find that story, because I'm not seeing it anywhere.
Let me check here.
Because I mean, he did what? He did The Lost World, Jurassic Park, and he didn't do any after that, but he still produced all those films. So
this Hollywood Reporter. Let me check this out. Let me see here.
Yeah.
Let me see what's here. My computer's taking a minute because it must be slow. Let's see. Change things.
I mean, Cline is saying he always planned on writing a sequel.
Aha! Here we go. I found it.
Okay, what is it?
Given the reference, heavy nature of the story, it's something obvious.
Can you tell me what website it is? Is it a real
Hollywood Reporter is what I'm seeing it on.
Okay. What's the headline of the article?
It says Cline talks Ready Player One sequel.
Okay.
Looking at this thing.
I'm not seeing where he says that though, Jay. I don't think he ever said that.
Look at myself.
I don't think he ever actually said he won't do one.
Let me see this.
Okay. Here's what Cline told Collider. Have you talked about about possibly doing a sequel with him? No, not directly. He was like, I want to finish this movie first, but and then this is what Cline says, but I think there's a good chance that if this one does well, Warner Brothers will want to make a sequel. I don't know if Steven would want to dive back in because he would know what he's getting into. He said that it's the third hardest. He said that it's the third hardest film he's made.
Yeah,
but he's not saying definitively. He said it's the third hardest film. Third hardest. Let's get that.
Isn't that what I said? Third hardest.
No, you said the hardest.
No. I did say that. If I meant the
one
third
of the hardest.
I meant the third hardest.
Whatever. But he's not saying definitively he won't direct it. He's never said he could. I mean, he might not, but like, it's not. This isn't confirmation he won't. Basically. So I like the movie. Fingers crossed Steven Spielberg will come back and do a sequel because let's see here. I was looking at the data.
Yeah.
I think it's made over 500 million excuse me, 500 million worldwide. So they're at 521 million worldwide. I don't know if that's enough for them to justify making a sequel, but hopefully, because wouldn't you want to?
I just think it'd be hard to do a sequel to the movie because how the movie ended is different from how the book ended. So
you can still play with it. You can play around with it.
Maybe it's just.
I think in the world they've set up, in the world they've created from the book, I think there's a lot because there's still problems in that world they live in.
Of course.
And I think if Spielberg has something to say, I would like to see him do the sequel. I'd
rather them just do a mini series or something like that rather than another movie. That's just me.
My point is that I think there are a lot of interesting places they could go in a sequel because that world is so big, and there's a lot. And just the dystopic world they created in the real world for the film is also interesting to me. That I think they could explore a lot of that as well in a sequel. But here's my point. If Klein wants to do it and Spielberg wants to do it, that's the only way you should do a sequel. If they're not interested, then forget about it.
Yeah, I agree. Because I actually read today there were too many sequels where they did that. We're like, oh, one person knows what we're doing anyway, and it's a failure. It's absolutely
like the Men in Black sequels. I thought were horrible.
No, the one that was horrible was Son of the Mask. That was horrible.
I don't like the Men in Black sequels at all. I'm sorry.
Well, I go with Son of the Mask was terrible.
All right. Well, Son of the Mask didn't even have Jim Carrey. Men in Black had everybody. Okay, and those were big budget sequels to a big budget movie, and they were.
But didn't they not have the same director?
Yeah, they all had the same director, Barry Sonnenfeld. They all came back, and they were all terrible.
But I liked them, and that's just me.
All right. Well, we have different tastes sometimes.
Yes, we do. So moving on.
All right, moving on. Latest Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. How have you been enjoying season 5, which could be the last season?
You know, it's been interesting so far. We've seen some people come back. So I can actually say this now since the most recent episode aired. We find out that General Talbot is still alive, which is interesting.
Did we think he was dead for a while?
Yes, we thought that an LMD of Sky shot him in the head and killed him. And it turns out, no, he's still alive.
Did she? What was it? An LMD she thought was dead? Maybe.
Well, it was an LMD of her that shot him in the head.
Well, then what happened to him?
For a while, he was in the hospital, but then
so he survived a gunshot wound to the head.
But no one in S.H.I.E.L.D. knew that. Everybody thought he was dead.
How could you not know? How could you not know?
They thought he was dead. That's what happened.
They didn't go to the hospital and check up on him?
I think he was in a secret hospital, only No, what happened was first, he was in the hospital. At least on an episode we saw he was in the hospital. And, his wife was there and his kid, but he had, anger issues and all that stuff. And then suppose they were transferred to some new hospital. And that's where I guess everybody thought he died or something. Yes, that's where they thought he was.
So they faked his death, but he was really alive the whole time.
Yes.
So what's he been doing all this time?
He was by literally pretty much what's left of Hydra, which isn't much at this point, but there is a little left still. We're finding out this season. What happened is they've had him this whole time, and they've really been. It turns out we noticed later they turned him into a sleeper agent, which is kind of interesting.
So he was brainwashed.
Yes. And Coulson is because by now we've seen where they went to the future and they've come back.
Right.
Basically, what they've been doing now is they're trying to stop the world from ending. They don't know how it ends, but they're trying to figure out how can we stop this future we saw from happening. It's basically been their goal. And it turns out Coulson is pretty much dying because he has this black mark in him from when he had the Ghost Rider in him, which last season he had for a minute.
Right.
And so they're also dealing with I believe it was Yo-Yo's future self told her you need to let him go. So they're having that.
Yo-Yo got a bionicle arm too, right?
Arms for a while, yes. Yeah. And so they're dealing with. They wonder, is Sky the destroyer of worlds? Finally, Fitz and Simmons get married. Finally, which was nice to see that. That was about.
She's pregnant too.
When did that happen? That hasn't happened yet.
Well, we meet her. We meet that one of the people from the future is like
Her grandson.
her grandson, right?
But we haven't seen a pregnancy.
I think didn't she get sick, kind of indicating that she's pregnant?
No.
I believe.
No, that hasn't happened yet.
I believe that's happened.
No, it hasn't. I've watched all the episodes. No, it hasn't.
So she's not pregnant yet.
Not yet. No. But
she's going to be pregnant at some point, though.
Probably. But we've seen Robin again, which is really kind of cool. So it's nice to see her again because we saw her future self in the future.
Wait, didn't Fitz do some sort of brain surgery on Skye to get her powers back?
He just removed a thing from her.
Right, but he did it without her consent, right?
Yeah, because it turns out his Agents of Hydra self is still a part of him. So we thought that was it was him doing it. So what's happened this season has been a lot of kind of the team.
Has Skye forgiven him for that yet? I don't.
No, but Skye is kind of starting to lead the team now. Kind of, she's not necessarily wanting to, but Coulson's like, you need to. You need to be the leader of what's left of Shield now.
Does this feel like the final season to you?
It's hard to say, to be honest. It really is.
Do you want it to end this season?
I would like to see another season, but it's right now.
It feels like this is where they should end it, right?
It's hard for me to say that. I don't know. Because I'm such a fan of this show. I wouldn't mind one more season, but I don't think it should go past one more season.
Has anything happened with May and Coulson?
There is definitely. I think they know they like each other now, but she also knows, he may not be here much longer, and she's having a lot of emotions over that. Two things. There are a few things have happened this season. A lot of the team is going in different directions for the same goal, but they're taking a lot of risks to do it. That's happened more than once. It's also been where, all the team is trying to figure out what's going on, how do we stop it, which has been really interesting. And it's also interesting to see there's new players in the mix now where supposedly the girl who's the head of Hydra, as far as we know, has been talking to some kind of alien species too, which is interesting.
And it's not the Kree.
No, it's not. And it's that guy who, have you watched either season 3 of Sleepy Hollow or... Yeah. So the guy who was the bad guy in that is the
Peter Mensa.
Yes.
From Spartacus, right?
He was also on Midnight Texas, actually. He was the vampire on that. So we've seen him a few times now. And... yeah, so far it's been an interesting season. I'm curious to see what's going to happen next each episode because a lot is definitely happening and it's leading towards trying to stop this. And there's always been bumps in the road. They think they've stopped it, then no, they haven't. So that keeps happening, and they really just want to stop this, but they're almost wondering now, can we stop it? Is it kind of?
Does Coulson feel like he has to sacrifice himself to save the world?
He's actually tried to once or twice already.
Okay.
Yeah, after the last episode, he tried to do that.
Mm-hmm. What do you think? Is Fitz becoming more evil?
No.
You sure?
Yes.
Isn't it pretty messed up though what he did to Skye?
Yes.
So why should everyone be okay with that?
They're not.
Okay. So they're not okay with it.
The two that are okay with it.
What is going on with Fitz then?
What's happening with Fitz is he's kind of still battling his demons, right? That's kind of what's happening.
Right.
But
he did something that's pretty messed up, though.
True, but Simmons has forgiven him for it, and Yo-Yo has forgiven him for it.
But Skye and Mac have not.
No.
What about May and Coulson?
May and Coulson have their own things going on, and truthfully, so do Skye and
I miss Fitz when he was such a sweet, innocent scientist, and he wouldn't do these things. Jay.
Because, first of all, Mac is pissed at Yo-Yo, and he's got good reason to be pissed at her at this point.
Why is Mac upset with her?
Well, at one point, she locked him in the cell that was Fitz's, so he hasn't forgiven her for that. He's like, why did you do that to me? I thought we were supposed to be this really close thing, right? And he doesn't like the three of them because they all think they're immortal because they all know that, because Yo-Yo knows she's going to be in the future. And Fitz and Simmons know they'll be around at least long enough to have the daughter who has their grandson, right?
Does the Kree have anything to do with this apocalypse?
So far, we don't believe so. We haven't seen them at all yet.
Huh.
Yeah, it looks like the next episode we might see some kind of alien species, but I don't think it's the Kree. It doesn't look like the Kree in any way, shape, or form. It looks like something.
How do you like how they brought the Kree into the show?
It was good how they did it. It was definitely, you saw them in a different light. You hadn't, because really, when we saw the Kree in Avengers, they were all wearing body armor, right? We didn't actually see their faces, right?
We only saw like 1 or 2 Kree. We never saw Kree in Avengers at all, really.
Wasn't that what all the soldiers were? They were all Kree.
No, they were Chitauri.
Okay, you're right.
We saw them in Guardians of the Galaxy, but we only saw a couple of them.
Okay, but they still didn't look like they look on this show, do they? Did they?
We saw them. We saw a couple. We saw the Hive fight a couple of them from space, as I recall.
Again, we didn't really see them like this, though, did we?
Not quite the same, though.
So
we saw some of the Kree, but just bits and pieces, really.
I want to say we saw the Kree on either season 3 or 4 of this show, didn't we?
We saw an alien body of the Kree way back in the first season, but that was
in season 3 and 4 we saw them too.
Yeah, we did.
So it was nice to see them again. They were definitely they're definitely a different light. So it was nice to see them again, and so far I really like this season, and I do think this show has at least one more season in it. That's what I think.
Okay, fair enough.
But I think that's
what's your favorite thing been about this season?
It's really been the fact that Coulson is kind of facing his own mortality. He's kind of facing that. My time may be short. And he hasn't really had to do that before.
I don't think they'll. I refuse. Deep down, I don't believe they'll kill him off again. I don't think they will. We'll
see. I don't know. I mean, it would just it depends on where it goes next, really.
They won't kill him off. I think it wouldn't. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if they kept it around for another season and put it on the streaming service. For more content on the streaming service. Okay, so moving on to our next Marvel TV show. Jessica Jones, we know for a fact it is coming back for season 3.
And I finally finished season 2.
So this is from Hollywood Reporter. Jessica Jones renewed for season 3.
Didn't we do this a episode or 2 ago,
though? The renewal?
Yes.
No, we didn't talk about the renewal. So we know it's official because it was just announced on April 12th.
Okay.
That it's official that they've renewed it for a 3rd season. So now we know for a fact it's coming back. So you finished season 2.
Finally, yes.
Were you happy with how season 2 ended?
It wasn't bad how it ended. I agree that side story with Patsy was weird.
Yeah.
And it got really weird toward the end.
The second half was rough. Admit it, right? It was a rough second half.
It was just that side story that got worse and worse. You're like, this doesn't make any damn sense. Like, where she goes, I'm going to go to the doctor and get powers. What the hell's wrong with you?
I think...
Dude.
I think... You want to know my thought on season 3?
But I will say this,
If Patsy's the bad guy in season 3, then it makes sense.
But I will say this, though. I did like how they brought Kilgrave back. That made perfect sense. That was probably one of the best.
Well, they brought him back. He was just kind of like a hallucination.
Yeah. But that was a good way to bring him back.
That was a good way, but... None of the characters were as good as Kilgrave this season, in my opinion.
Sadly, the thing with the mom was kind of predictable. I wasn't too shocked. I was shocked who pulled the trigger, but I wasn't surprised that happened because that kind of was like that had to happen.
I think it should have happened like 5 episodes before.
What would they have done next, though?
To me, you didn't need. I don't think you needed 13 episodes this season at all. I think the season was too long.
I just know that
I would have cut out like the whole. I would have ended it like after 8 episodes, basically.
Well, that wasn't the only weird side story though. Like the one with Jerry Hogarth was okay, but had
that didn't. That was I mean, I thought it started okay.
Yeah.
But then when you got like then in the second half, it went off a cliff.
I thought that Malcolm was actually pretty good. He was kind of good in this. Was it Malcolm? Is that not his name?
The guy she thought had psychic powers. That guy?
No, Malcolm was her.
Oh, Malcolm. Her assistant.
Yeah, he was good in this. I thought.
I'm sorry, Ika Darville.
Yeah, we got to see him grow a lot. So he was good in this.
He did. Ika, I think, had one of the Ika Darville as Malcolm. I think had one of the better subplots.
And
But
it was kind of nice.
Patsy's subplot was.
Yeah, it would start off not bad, but it got really
Just
weird toward
admit
the
though
end.
that the mother was not as good as Kilgrave, though. Come on.
Well, I do admit that. But what I do like though is I do like how things with Jessica ended. That was kind of cool. And I am curious to see where that goes in season 3.
I think again, if you make Patsy the villain of season 3 as Hellcat, I think that can redeem anything we didn't like about this season.
Now remind me, who's Hellcat?
Hellcat is Patsy's superhero alter ego in the comics.
And is she super powered?
Well, I mean, apparently she has them now.
Well, all we saw now was she had better agility.
What?
Because we saw the foam land in her foot, and she was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
I stopped it."
Yeah, she has cat-like reflexes. Get it? Hellcat.
I don't. We'll see.
So now she apparently has superpowers now.
Actually, if I think about the ending, it would make sense because pretty much Jessica did have to go, yeah, F you, pretty much, because all she's doing now.
I don't think so. Patsy did what she could.
I'm not saying she didn't, but Jessica may never forgive her for that.
You see, I don't know. But my thing is, if you made Patsy the villain instead, that can kind of smooth over all the problems I had with this season.
And I'm agreeing with you, just like how it ended between her and Jessica in season 2, she could become evil. I'd say that makes sense.
Not evil, but just like Patsy is so obsessed with being a superhero, she becomes like bad.
Yeah.
That's my idea.
Yeah, she'll go after people she thinks is bad who probably aren't bad.
Here's my thing. I'm not saying that's what they're going to do. I'm not saying that at all. Mm-hmm. My thought was just the way, because at the end of this season, do you like Patsy at all?
No.
Not really, right? So I'm saying go with that and make it so Patsy is like obsessed with being the perfect superhero. Mm-hmm. Make her like Syndrome in The Incredibles, except with Patsy. Mm-hmm. Think about that. Because think about it. Syndrome in The Incredibles, he wasn't a bad kid, right? He just wanted to help. Mm-hmm. He wanted to help Mr. Incredible, right? Mm-hmm. And then he became so obsessed with that, he came up with this idea, I'm going to kill all these heroes and I'm going to become a hero myself and pretend to be a hero, basically. Mm-hmm. I think it's not that different with Patsy. She became obsessed with the idea of I need to have superpowers so I can help people, basically. Mm-hmm. And I feel like she's being selfish, you know? She doesn't want to help people. She wants to help herself, basically. Mm-hmm. She wants to be like she wants to be a star, you know? Mm-hmm. Do you think, but like, I think here's my problem with Patsy. Like this season, people were constantly excusing her behavior as like an addict. And I think that's part of it, but I think Patsy is just a terrible, selfish, and vain, petty person. And she wants to be like a star. She doesn't want to help. She's not a philanthropist. Mm-mm. I feel like she wants to be like a star. She wants to be a movie star, basically, but a superhero movie star is my thing. Like, remember her boyfriend early in the season who was like this kind of like basically Stephen Colbert, Jon Stewart type, right? Mm-hmm. Remember her TV reporter boyfriend?
I wouldn't say that then because he was on GCN or something, right? He was
like a hot shot, like reporter, basically, like a current event, like not like a gossip reporter, but like a real world, like in the trenches, like, you know.
But that's kind of like more like who was that one talk show host who like went to the Middle East?
Yeah, he's like an embedded reporter, like an embedded.
Like Rivera, Geraldo Rivera, right?
I don't want to say he's like the opposite of her. But
Geraldo went to like the trenches. Yeah. He went to like the Middle East, right?
Yeah, but like not like more like Brie Larson's character in the Kong movie. More like that. Okay. Like not a jerk, you know? Okay. So my point with Patsy is she wanted to be like him, but she wanted it to do that for her own selfish reasons. She doesn't want to truly help people. She wants the attention, right? That's what she wants.
True.
Do you think I'm off there?
No, you're not.
So I feel like if you went with that, and now that she has abilities, have her come into conflict with Jessica and have them fight. I think that would be cool.
Yeah, I think that'll probably happen.
And
we'll
then
get at a Comic-Con, but probably.
I'm not saying that's what they're going to do. I just feel like if that's the direction they took the show after what happened this season, because compared to the first season, I think you would agree it was a disappointment, right? I think that would help fix things out. So, but we are getting a third season, so it looks like all the Marvel Netflix shows are getting at least 3 seasons. Well, we haven't gotten Luke Cage yet, so I guess we'll find out soon.
Well, that'll be June 22nd, so that'll be here before we know it.
Right, and then Punisher is definitely getting a second season, and Iron Fist is getting a second season. So we know for sure.
I'm definitely curious to see what they're going to do with Punisher season 2. Still, I'm so curious how that.
Yeah, I'm curious about that as well. And Daredevil's getting a third season, so
of course, which makes sense.
We don't know. I guess the only question mark right now is Defenders.
Yes, that's true. Which maybe they'll do after all the shows get second and third seasons. You would think.
Or the other thought is they could do Heroes for Hire with Luke Cage and excuse me. Sorry about that. And what would you think about combining Iron Fist and Luke Cage and doing Heroes for Hire?
I'd rather not.
Why not?
Because Luke Cage is really strong, but Iron Fist just sucks. That show is terrible.
Okay, because you don't want Iron Fist to bring down Luke Cage. Is your thing.
Which Iron Fist did with the Defenders? He was the weakest thing about the Defenders.
Okay.
So
see, this is where I disagree with you.
Okay, fine.
Not that I loved Iron Fist. I had a lot of problems with it. Okay, so moving on from that, Amazon is making a new Rocky and Bullwinkle.
We already talked about this.
Did we talk about that?
Yeah, that was last week.
That was last week.
Now, what we haven't talked about is the new
Siren.
Well, before that, the new Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom.
Okay.
Final one.
How do you think Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom is looking right now?
Bad.
Why do you think bad?
For starters, in this final trailer, we find out a few things about the movie that are interesting. One, they're not trying to save the dinosaurs, they're trying to sell them off at an auction. That's a little weird in itself.
Wasn't that basically what they were doing in the second movie?
Probably. Yes, it was.
They weren't auctioning them, but they were like trying to take them to the mainland and like sell them off, I guess.
But what really bothers me about this trailer that really grinds me is they made another dinosaur.
What do you mean?
They show that they made a new dinosaur again.
A new hybrid, you mean?
Yes. And I'm bugged because, like, didn't you do that in the first one? Look how that turned out. Why would you do that again?
Good. I mean, hey, why would you open up a dinosaur theme park after the first movie, and the second one, and the third one? They still did it.
But they didn't have a problem until they did the new dinosaur.
You want to know why, Jay? It's humanity's hubris. It's the hubris of mankind.
It's stupidity is what it is. Jeez Louise. It's like if you made a dinosaur in the first one and everything went so bad where the park is pretty much closed, why would you make another new one?
Here's my idea. I feel like you have to start a dinosaur apocalypse, and then the next movie will be Cadillacs and Dinosaurs. What do you think about that?
I hope there won't be a next movie.
You know what Cadillacs and Dinosaurs is? Have you ever heard of that?
No, I haven't.
Look up Cadillacs and Dinosaurs sometimes. So basically, the dinosaurs will retake the Earth, and like then the humans, it'll be like a post-apocalyptic Mad Max, but with dinosaurs. What do you think about that?
That sounds terrible.
Why is that terrible? I think that sounds awesome.
Ugh, nope.
Why?
I have, after watching this final trailer, I don't have much hope for this sequel.
Did you even like Jurassic World?
Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was great.
So why were you okay with Jurassic World, but not this?
Because it took everything from the first one and just expanded on it. I like movies that do that.
But I mean, isn't it your premise of why this new one is stupid? It can also be applied to Jurassic World as well.
I just feel like with this one, this is going to be another movie where they made a sequel because it made so much money, but it looks like it's going to be weaker than the first one anyway. And I have a hunch even Jeff Goldblum won't be able to help this movie. I have a fear that's what's going to happen.
Well, what about the second and third films?
Second was good. Third was trash.
Okay.
Third was absolute trash.
Okay. Here's my main problem with Fallen Kingdom. Why did Owen and Claire, Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas, why did they break up?
Mm-hmm.
I don't get that. I don't like, you see, when you have a couple, like a romantic pairing in a sequel,
Mm-hmm.
or in one movie, and then they do another one and they break up off screen, I don't get that at all. Why do you do that?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because ultimately they're going to get back together, don't you think, right? So why even break them up in the first place?
I don't know.
I mean, okay. All right. So what is Siren, and what has Siren so excited for you?
So what happened with Siren is the first 4 episodes were kind of not that strong. I mean, they weren't bad, but the show didn't really grip me. It was something like where I'm like, okay, this show has a good concept.
Have the mermaids returned home yet?
Yes, they did in the 4th one.
Okay.
And in this one, they came back, and it seemed.
Why did they come back?
I will explain to you, because it seemed weird to me at first too. I'm like, what do you mean they came back already? So first, what they do is it's a month later.
Okay.
It jumps a month from the 4th episode to the 5th. And her and her sister don't want to come back, but they have to because there's no food for them to hunt in the ocean. There's none.
Couldn't they? I mean, it's a big ocean. Couldn't they just go to another ocean?
Well, all their hunting grounds are empty, pretty much, right?
So it's like an environment. It's like an environmental thing, then.
Well, it gets better. What happens?
That's dumb, Jay. I'm sorry.
Well, wait, it gets better. So what happens is they come back because
this is a fishing town, right?
Yes, but they come back because
how can you run out of fish in a fishing town? The town would go under.
I'm getting to it. Just wait. So what happens is Rin comes back because she's like, hey, Maddie and Ben will help us. And what turns out happening is there's some company like pretty much buying say whatever you catch, even the bad stuff, we'll take it, right? And so Ben's going, what the heck is going on here? Why is this happening? And it turns out the guy who originally had Rin's sister in the 2nd and 3rd episode, maybe even the 1st episode, is doing this because the military really wants them, because they've already seen that, hey, we use certain things, and it can cure all this stuff, right?
The mermaids or the fish?
So basically what happened, they're mermaids. But basically what happens is we find out who the bad guy really is and how far he's willing to go to get these mermaids back in his possession, right?
And who is the bad guy?
It's the head of this top secret organization that was doing all these illegal tests on the sister in the first place.
All right.
And
this premise sounds ridiculous.
And they make new tanks because they want to catch more mermaids because they want to do all this illegal research on them.
How many mermaids are there?
So far we know there are 2, but Rin has said there's a lot more than that. But so far we've only seen 2.
Why don't they find the others and go hunt with them?
Again, there's no food in their hunting grounds.
Then where are the other ones starving?
Maybe, I don't know.
Do they live with the other mermaids or by themselves?
I'm assuming by themselves, but I'm not sure, to be honest.
This doesn't make then who's their family? Did their family die? What's going on here?
I don't know. They haven't explained that yet.
Jay, none of this makes sense.
But I will say this, for me,
why would they go back to the one place they should not go back to? Why don't they go to another town?
For starters, there was fish there, so they actually found food to eat.
Can they only eat fish?
We also found out one of the characters.
Wait, is fish the only thing they can eat?
Fish and stuff that comes from the ocean, yes. Fish.
Okay. What happens if they eat fruit and vegetables?
It's not their food source. They'd spit it out.
Are you saying their bodies can only digest fish, is what you're saying?
Yes, stuff from the ocean. That's what they're used to eating.
Okay.
And we find out a character is...
This is dumb.
So we find out to a character that's from
Why? Tell me why I should watch this show.
I would say watch this show because it's definitely more of a drama. There's good mystery around there. It has thriller aspects, and it's not your cutesy wootsy Little Mermaid. It's definitely much darker. Mermaid.
I'm just saying the reasons you're giving me for why they came back after they were set free, right?
They both went. Well, her sister broke out,
Right.
And Rin had to go back in the ocean because she was drying out. If she didn't go in the ocean, she was going to die pretty much.
I'm just saying, like, why go to that town? Why not find another fishing town without the organization that wants to kill them?
I already said why, though, because first of all, they didn't know the organization wanted to go after them. They don't know that still at first. And they came back because Rin was like, these people will help us out. That's why. Her sister didn't want to come back. Her sister doesn't like them, doesn't trust them, but Rin does. So that's why they came back.
Why not go to another town, another fishing town, and steal some fish?
Because because Ben's family owns pretty much one of the bigger fishing companies there. So her sister tries to steal some fish and gets caught. Right now, she gets away. She doesn't actually get caught, but she's caught by the camera.
Jake, you got to admit that's a little convoluted. If you're ocean-dwelling mermaids,
mm-hmm.
and it's a big ocean,
mm-hmm.
how can all your hunting grounds be dried up? I mean, come on.
Mm-hmm.
And they're obviously they're not dried up if the fishing companies are still catching fish, right?
Mm.
Are they going out of business, or are all the fish gone?
They're what's happening is, and it's more environmental in this episode.
Okay.
Is
are the habitats? Yeah.
They're upsetting the ecosystem because they're catching everything, not just certain fish, right?
Okay. So all right, but like they could find another one, couldn't they? I mean, look, regardless of environmental message, there are still places where fish live and you can catch fish. I mean,
I would assume if they were gone for a month, they searched everywhere. I may be wrong. That's what I would assume.
I mean, you think they searched 70% of the planet?
I don't know.
Come on.
I don't know how they swim fast. I don't know.
Come on.
Here's my thing with this show.
You're not doing a good job of selling me on the show, Jay.
Fine. I usually don't do that though. But anyways, so my thing with this show is it's finally gripped me, but maybe it's too late. The 5th episode is a weird point to grip someone for a show, right?
Right.
So
it sounds like you're not big on the show either.
No, I like this show, but it took this long to make me actually go, okay, now you have my attention.
Okay.
I was watching before going, hey, I'm watching this. I get a chance to watch this show.
I will give a show like 2 or 3 episodes tops to do that.
I usually give a bit more, but that depends on the show too, because this show has definitely piqued my interest, but now it has my attention.
Okay. And why does it have your attention now?
Because it's finally clear of okay, what's going on with Rin and her sister and who the bad guy is. Before that, there wasn't really necessarily a evil bad guy.
All right.
Not really, and it's a better story now. But I still wonder. This show, I still have a wonder about of will it actually get picked up and will it get a second season? Because it's hard to tell now still. Maybe it's too late. We'll see, right?
Based on what you've told me, I hope it doesn't.
Because time after time I enjoyed, and that show didn't last more than 4 or 5 episodes either.
Well, here's one show that won't be lasting any longer. Ash vs. Evil Dead.
Mm-hmm.
But this one got 3 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
This is from Deadline. It came out, was announced 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Starz is canceled Ash vs. Evil Dead after 3 seasons. There will be no 4th season. Apparently, the plan was for 5 seasons for this show. That's what I've read. I don't know if that's definitive. Ash vs. Evil Dead has taken audiences on a wild ride for 3 seasons. Thanks to the fantastic performances and creative efforts of Sam, Bruce, Rob, and the entire cast and crew, we are proud to send the show out with a bang and a splat, said Carmi Zlotnick, president of programming for Starz.
Yeah, and this has actually shocked a lot of fans because season 1 I think was great. Season 2 was a little but still watchable.
Season 3 is
in a nutshell was where it was a different timeline. He had a daughter somehow.
Yeah.
And there was that going on.
So we're not getting a 4th season. Bruce Campbell tweeted, Ash vs. Evil Dead has been the ride of a lifetime. Ash Williams was the role of a lifetime. I will always be grateful to Starz, Sam Raimi, Rob Tapert, and our tireless fans for the opportunity to revisit the franchise that launched our careers. Thank you. So it's pretty definitive. I mean, who knows? They could always do another movie if they wanted.
I heard the last movie wasn't that good. Am I wrong?
Well, the last one was the reboot. I think in
Vanity anyway, right?
What was that? It did well, I think.
Yeah. I don't know.
I think it was generally well liked, but when did that? I think it came out in 2013. It looks like it did fairly well. I think it was what. Let's see how it did for reviews. The original came out in like the early 80s, I think. Let's see. It got okayish reviews, not great, but it did okay. It did okay, basically. I think they could do another movie if they wanted, but
I don't know if they should.
Are you upset that they're canceling it?
I'm more bummed than upset, just because I'm like, man, like I said, it was very gory, but it had an interesting mix of gory and comedy, which was kind of funny. And you could tell Bruce Campbell had a blast doing this show. You could just tell that from start to finish.
Was season 3? Season 3 was an improvement for you over season 2.
I actually honestly haven't watched season 3 yet, but I've heard good things about it.
I'm not too broken up about it. I like the first season. Season 2 was a letdown, honestly.
I agree. Wasn't as strong.
Season 3, I mean, it looks good, but I mean, I feel like fans who are upset, like, I feel like you should count your blessings, because I think I mean, considering that this was always kind of like a B movie horror franchise, kind of like low budget, and I think you got your TV show, you got 3 seasons. It's better than nothing. I mean, do you remember Human Target? I think I might have asked you this before.
No, I don't.
All right. Well, Human Target was a show I really liked, really dug, had a lot of potential. Only got 2 short seasons and gone. We never got. I mean, that's better than what we got for Human Target, basically. Remember Firefly, Jay?
Yes, I do.
Firefly only got the 1 season. And
at least they had the movie that kind of.
They got the movie. They did get a movie, but some shows never they'll never they just get axed after 1 season, and they look like they'll be really good, and we just never see them again. So
that's true.
So I'm just saying, with Evil Dead, at least we have this where you got 3 seasons of the show to enjoy. Better than nothing. You know what I mean?
True.
All right. So the latest episodes of Guardians of the Galaxy animated. Anything you want to add on those? I think they've been a lot of fun.
What's cool about these new episodes is we had the last episodes before where they finally caught and captured and brought in Thanos.
Right. And then they get a reward.
And they all blow it insanely, which is funny to see them all go through that. Drax, I thought, was actually really freaking funny because he's trying to find a new identity because they don't be the Destroyer anymore.
Right.
Even the one with Gamora and Nebula was pretty fun.
So basically, like we got like an episode or segment where each character, like they get they're filthy rich for the reward for Thanos, for capturing Thanos. So now they each get like their own episode where it's like, what do they do now that they have all this money? And and as you said, they all blow it. So here we had like 3 or 4. So
like 5 episodes, even more, and then we have
Money Changes Anything. We find out what happens to Rocket and Groot. Sisters are doing it themselves, so that's what, like, Gamora and Nebula, they team up. Like, Gamora's trying to teach Nebula a lesson to help people, and they're trying to donate money to the people they wronged in the past. I thought that was good.
Yeah, I thought We Are the Champions was funny because, like I said, Drax just goes through an identity crisis the whole way through. And then we have the one with Peter Quill where he decides to try to do his own show, and that's an absolute disaster.
What? Like, why would you waste all your money on that? Really, I would buy if I had that much money, I would just buy a really nice. I would buy a planet and just build a really nice mansion for myself, and just get a space dog or something,
So fast forward from those 5 episodes, we have where this time they're all pretty much broke, and that's where they'll come back together, right? Because the Milano gets impounded.
I haven't seen this I stopped at the variety show episode.
And so what happens on the next 2 episodes is
they're back together. At least they're back together.
They all come back together because we all need to do at least one more job because we're all broke anyway. They break out the Milano. They get a job with Howard the Duck, voiced by Seth Green, which is great.
Because he
And
voiced Howard the Duck in the recent films.
yes, he has. And so, and Rocket actually knows Howard the Duck, and Howard the Duck pretty much, screws them all over, and they all get thrown in jail by a Korean forester voiced by Ming-Na Wen, by the way, which she does a great job.
It's Phyla Vel.
Yeah, she does a great job voicing that character. And
Phyla is a major character from the comics.
And Rocket is really mad because he think there's like some like thieving code or something like that, and he thinks that Howard the Duck might have broken it. But we find out that he took on the job he did because the Collector is pissed at the Guardians for all the stuff.
Don't tell me everything. Don't reveal everything about the episode.
Fine. So they go to a Kree prison in the second episode, and it's believed that Rocket's brains get fried because he is trying to go against the Guardians, and the warden there, she believes it's an unbreakable prison, and
Dr. Minerva.
Yeah, she believes it's an unbreakable prison, and they're trying to get out, but Rocket is acting like he.
So this is the second. I guess this is the second mission breakout arc, basically.
Yes.
In the premiere, they had to break out from the Collector's prison, and so now they have to break out from another one.
And this is a really good episode because, we get to see more of Phyla, whatever her name is.
Phyla Vel.
Phyla Vel. And we get to see the Guardians again. They kind of come back together again. And
Phyla is actually Captain Marvel's daughter.
Really?
Not female Captain Marvel, the original Captain Marvel.
Okay, that makes sense because he had blonde hair too, right?
Yes.
That makes sense. And it was a really good episode. And basically, I'm not giving away the ending here, but they'll have 2 more episodes where they have to find out, why did Howard the Duck basically frame them? That's what's going to happen next.
Is Howard the Duck in the second episode of these 2?
No, he's not.
He's only in the first one.
But he will come back in the next 2.
Are they all stuck in the prison, or
yes,
so they're all okay?
Mm-hmm.
See.
And the prison was pretty cool looking, and definitely.
If you lived in outer space and you got all that reward money for Thanos, what would you spend it on?
Oh, I would probably buy a nice place and all that stuff, and just things. But yeah, I would.
I would just play video games and just watch TV. Mm-hmm. Life probably wouldn't be much different for me, but it would be a little more comfortable. I don't.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know, why Drax. I'm going to spend all this money and I'm going to buy art tools and I'm going to learn how to be a broiler cook.
It was just funny to see. I really liked him going through the identity crisis. That was just funny, And you get that people trying to fight him because
it was funny.
Because they were like, you have to you're the champion. We have to take you on. He's like, I don't want to.
Everyone was trying to make their name off of defeating him.
That was really funny. We saw Cosmo too. I love Cosmo.
I did like seeing Fondral again in the variety show episode.
Yeah, that wasn't bad, and it was kind of cool seeing Taskmaster. Taskmaster was kind of cool to see.
How do you rank this season compared to others?
This season has been good, but hasn't gone how I expected it to be honest.
I thought here's how I thought it was going to go. I thought they were going to be in jail a lot longer at the start.
Me too.
And I also thought they were going to get framed and had to spend this whole season they were going to be fugitives from the law, and they would have to clear their names basically.
That's how I thought. It's kind of happened that way, but it's taken a lot longer to get there, which is weird.
Right.
And we've seen much less of the Collector than I thought we would, to be honest.
Right. I thought because they called it Mission Break because it's the ride.
Yeah.
It's based on the ride. So I thought I thought we were going to be seeing more of that this season, but then we had the adventure in New York with Thanos and the Venom symbiote, and it's kind of,
Which I'll admit, by the way, that episode was amazing where Thanos gets a symbiote. That was awesome to see. And I have to say
it was a good crossover.
And I have to say this.
Yeah.
Thank you everybody who checked out that clip of my YouTube, Movie Seeker 23, because I've gotten hundreds of new people because of that, and it's gotten 162K views on there. So thank you very much to everybody who's watched that and keeps sharing it and watching it and viewing it, because it's one of the most popular videos on there ever. So
all right. Well, congratulations for that. And also, you got approved for Comic-Con, right?
Yes, I did.
How exciting is that for you?
I'm excited. It's a little weird when I got approved. I don't have a hotel room yet, so that's kind of weird.
Yeah.
I'll get one somehow.
Join
Hopefully
the club,
somebody,
buddy.
but getting my own is gonna be kind of tough.
I haven't even got my hotel room yet because of the Comic-Con housing on peak thing. It's just a nightmare.
Yeah.
Dealing with that. It's the worst thing about Comic-Con, unfortunately, is the logistics. So will this be your first Comic-Con, or have you gone to others?
Nope, this will be my first. I've never
All
been.
right. So how excited are you to finally check out Comic-Con for the first
I'm
time?
definitely looking forward to it. I just one thing I do hope is I hope if they do the exclusive signings for this as they did for WonderCon, that it's better, that it's more fine-tuned. That was an absolute cluster. That was an absolute cluster.
Well,
at WonderCon, it was a cluster. It was a nightmare. I don't know.
Considering that Comic-Con is like 10 times as big.
I do.
It's gonna.
But it was just weird how they handled it because
there's so many moving parts and things don't always run on time. So just expect delays and things like that.
Yeah, I just knew a lot of people at WonderCon who had done what I did, like signed up for 8 or 9 and didn't get anything. So I hope that doesn't happen this time because I don't have to get a lot, but 1 or 2 would be nice.
I signed up for a few and only got 1 for WonderCon.
Which one did you get?
What I think it was the Cloak and Dagger. Yeah.
I only got that because they were letting people in, which was kind of cool.
Yeah. And here's what I would recommend for your first Comic-Con is just plan keep checking the website for the event schedule. And then think about like the panels that are really can't miss, and then think about like what you'll probably get invited to press events, and like think about you're going to have to work around that. And the other thing is you got to give yourself a cushion on how to get from event to event, because
now I'm going to assume
the convention center is really spread out, and then you have to think about how do I get from this place to this place.
Now I would guess they're going to probably do Death of Superman premiere there, right? I would think, right?
They usually will have like 1 or 2 DC premieres
because that one is going to be the big one for the summer.
Yeah, probably.
And how do you get into Hall H? Have you been into Hall H before?
Yes, I have.
How do you do that?
Very interesting. Very interesting. Last year, I flashed my press badge, and they let me go into Hall H.
Really?
Through the press entrance.
Huh.
And they put you in a press cage area, basically. Huh. And now, full disclosure, I don't know if they'll do that again this year. Yeah. But they did allow press in through another entrance last year. And if I run in and see you, I'll show you what happened, and we'll see if we can do that again. But no guarantees. No guarantees.
Because the 2 big rooms are Hall H, is where they
otherwise you have to wait in line, or you have to have a really good relationship with a PR representative to give you a ticket to get into Hall H. That's
because Hall H is where they do all the new like trailers and everything, right?
Well, not all of them, but like that's where they do most of the really big panels and trailers and stuff.
Is there another room they do that too, or is it just that one room?
Sometimes it just depends.
Because I've heard that Warner Brothers does something too, right?
Warner Brothers will like all the major studios. They do all their big panels in Hall H. Okay. Is it Marvel will be in Hall H? All the biggest Game of Thrones. If they do a panel, will be in Hall H. All the big ticket panels, if they're there, will be in Hall H for the most part.
And that's like an all-day thing, right?
Well, they have programming in Hall H all day, and like a lot. The tough part about Hall H is people who wait in line to go in there will stay there all day. So that makes Hall H especially hard to get into if you're waiting in line, because people camp out. People camp out to wait in Hall H for days.
Now, did we get a chance to talk about the Kingdom Hearts 3 news?
The classic Kingdom stuff, or
they're doing the Game & Watch. That looks really cool.
That's neat. We still, you know what bugs me about Kingdom Hearts, Jay? We still don't know. We still don't have a release date for the 3rd game.
I thought it was sometime 2018.
Yeah, but I mean that's kind of a vague window, you know.
And I hope now that it'll be at E3 this year.
I think it's a pretty good bet. they'll have it at E3 because I
I
mean, when
also
what else are they going to have it? Are they going to have it next year after the game comes out? I mean,
I
come on.
also hope, because I heard rumor, and it's only rumor right now, that they might want to do a 3D version on the Switch of Red and Blue. Which if they did that, that'd be freaking awesome.
Of what Red and Blue?
Pokemon.
Oh. Let's see.
If they did a 3D of that, that'd be freaking awesome. I would play that in a heartbeat.
So basically like a reboot of the first two Pokemon games, but for the Switch.
And on in 3D, that'd be awesome.
You mean 3D graphics is what you mean?
Yes, is what I mean. And because I'll say this, when they did the first two Pokemon stadiums, getting to play those just like as those Pokemon in a stadium and those graphics was unbelievable.
I don't think that's not the thing about Red and Blue is not confirmed.
I know, I agree. I know it's not. I'm just saying, like, you know.
So basically, here's what's going on with Kingdom Hearts 3. There's going to be within Kingdom Hearts 3, there will be these mini games, and the mini games are called Classic Kingdom, and they're basically like those little like Game and Watch, like Liquid Crystal display games. Like within Kingdom Hearts 3, you'll be able to play these little mini games that look like LCD video, like handheld games, basically.
And it looks too like they're gonna like do like some based on like old cartoons, things like that. So that's kind of cool.
It looks like they're based on like classic Disney cartoons, basically.
Yeah, I think it's kind of cool. Yeah, I think that'll be fun.
I'm looking forward to Kingdom Hearts 3, but it would be nice to know when the game is coming out.
Probably around the holidays, like November, December.
It's still not confirmed though. I mean,
I know it's not. I'm just saying that
games like this tend to get delayed, Jay. So if it gets delayed to 2019, and let me just say, it wouldn't surprise me.
Well, it's been delayed too much at this point already.
Yeah, Final Fantasy 15, the latest one, got delayed like 10 years, basically.
First one did? I mean, the second one?
No, Final Fantasy 15.
Oh yeah, but
because they started making that game in like 2006, I want to say, and it took about that long it took like they released it in what 2016, I think.
I want to say that.
So
also, this is kind of news that's happening tonight. I haven't really watched the show, but I guess season 2 of Westworld finally premieres tonight.
Oh, do you like Westworld?
I haven't watched it. I've heard good things about it. I need to check it out.
I haven't watched it yet, but I mean, it's a pretty buzzworthy show.
Yeah, the only show thing I watched around it was Funny or Die did a City Slickers version of it that was pretty goddamn fun.
Yeah, so Westworld did premiere tonight. I haven't watched any of Westworld. I probably should.
I need to. I've heard good things about it. It's one of those things.
Like it took me a while. It took me a good 5 years to start watching Game of Thrones.
Me too, to be honest.
But then I got on my family has HBO on demand, so they let me watch that. Nice. And I blew through like the first 5 seasons in like 3 days.
You know what they're doing that's kind of weird that I don't understand? Did you hear this? They're doing a Equalizer 2.
I did hear about that with Denzel Washington.
Weird? Like what?
I mean, the first one did well, Jay. That's why.
But it just doesn't make sense to me. I'm just like, I don't know. I'm just
it's the director of Training Day and the star of Training Day.
I guess it's just.
I think they when the first one came out and did well, they talked about making a sequel. So
I don't know. When I heard that, I'm like, is there a sequel you need to do though?
I agree, but look, any Hollywood studio, when you have like a movie that even does relatively well, they'll try to make a sequel.
I guess you're right. I don't know.
All right. I think that about does it for us tonight. Before we leave, anything you wanted to mention? You wanted to bring up?
Again,
burning desires.
I will say this. I am definitely there's certain shows that are actually. Here's one thing I want to say is Roseanne, even though it's had its ups and downs, I kind of hope it does good, and I think it's going to continue doing better because it is getting better. But one other thing I did notice that's kind of weird. I don't know. I think this was confirmed. But I do need to bring this up. Supposedly they also have canceled Lemony Snicket's A Series of Unfortunate Events after season 3, supposedly, which is weird because I'm like season 3 hasn't even aired yet. So it's kind of weird they announced. It was the same trailer thing I saw where it said about Ash vs. Evil Dead. And that was a weird announcement to me because I'm like, third season hasn't aired yet.
So Deadline reported, this is a little dated, but Deadline reported in February that they're going to end the show after season 3.
It's still kind of weird to me, I guess. I guess I'm kind of blown away because I'm like, wait, really? It's like, but it hasn't aired yet.
Well, I mean, sometimes I think it's not so much a cancellation, but they're going to end the show. Sometimes shows just end, Jay, and like sometimes a show, it's not so weird because like sometimes you'll hear, okay, we're renewing the show, and this will be the last season, basically. Like you hear that, so that's basically what's happening here.
Maybe you're right. It's just kind of weird to me that it just like got announced because usually they'll announce something like that, like
It's not often you'll hear that, but it does happen, basically. Because look, shows got to end at some point,
That's true.
And not everything lasts for like as many seasons as The Walking Dead is in its 8th season?
Yes.
And I think it's probably gonna go to at least 10, I think.
I don't know, because Fear the Walking Dead, remember? So I don't know.
Well, Fear the Walking Dead is a whole separate show. But
I understand that, but it seems like to me
they're gonna have a 9th season. Just like not all shows it's not the norm for a show to last that long,
True. It's just, I guess what's just weird to me was I see them saying that for a show after like a season. It just seems so premature to say the show's over. That's, I guess, what's weird to me.
Maybe premature, but that show probably costs a lot of money, and like this is probably about as much. Like here, it would surprise me if they said that for like Stranger Things.
Yeah. Which, by the way, did you hear Carrie Ellis is going to be on season 3?
Who? I did hear that. Yeah.
I'm excited for that. I really am excited to see that. I want to see because Sean Austin was great in 2. I want to see what they do with Carrie Ellis.
Okay.
I can't wait.
So, but I mean, the thing is, Roseanne, they are going to bring it back for at least one more season. So, if you are a fan of Roseanne, I mean, they'll hopefully have time to make it better for you. There you go. Hopefully. All right. So, Jay, anything coming up for you? Where can people find you online? Anything you want people to check out? Any articles or reviews?
Yeah, they can find me on Goodman Project Arts and Entertainment section. I will have articles for Hostiles, which comes on Blu-ray on Tuesday. Okay. Deception, actually, they're doing 2 episodes this week, one on Tuesday, one on Sunday, so I'll have episode reviews of those. Next episode of Siren, I'll hopefully have a review of, and of course, there'll be Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and the next 2 episodes of Guardians of the Galaxy.
And of course, for me on 411 Mania, you can check out my exclusive interview with Genndy Tartakovsky, the director of the Hotel Transylvania films and the creator of Samurai Jack, Dexter's Lab, and Symbionic Titan. We had a one-on-one sit-down interview at Sony Pictures Animation. Go to 411mania.com and check that out. Also, check out my recap of the preview we saw at Sony Pictures Animation for Hotel Transylvania 3. It looks like it could be fun, decent. And I'm a big fan of Genndy Tartakovsky and Samurai Jack. Check that out. Also, I think we'll be back soon to review Avengers: Infinity War. I think we should have like a whole show dedicated to just that film, right, Jay?
Yeah, I think we will. I'll just have to probably see it this weekend.
Yeah. So So we will do a spoiler cast very soon, hopefully, for Avengers: Infinity War because that is such a big film. Everyone, thanks for your time.
And I do want to say, definitely be sure that we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on YouTube. We have a channel on there, so you can check us out on there. Please like us, follow us, tell your friends about us, share our links on your pages. Because we just simply want to, get this podcast out to more and more people.
Hollywood Purgatory. This is where the entertainment industry goes to get judged.
Yes.
I am Jeffrey Harris. He is Jay Snook. Thank you, everybody, and have a good night.
Adios.
All right.